mentioned. But thank God, our own responsibility as senators is to prop up discussions as was held today. So you can see I came in with 2 prayers, but this was later expanded to 6, 7 resolutions of the Senate, amongst which was also the fact that an ad hoc committee should be set up to review some of the road construction works across the nation. So this will go a long way in making sure that the oversight function, when a committee is in place, will be adequately addressed, and also the poor maintenance culture that you have mentioned over the years. And don't forget also that some of these roads were not meant to carry the kind of bulky movement of our vehicles, but in between, with the total collapse of the rail services in the country, the only means of transportation apart from road is the very limited sea transportation that is now being revisited in terms of inland waterways. But we hope that when this committee do sit, some of the problems highlighted, as you can see, it was a very interesting motion that so many senators spoke in favor of, and they also profile solutions towards making recommendations on what steps should be taken.
Lastly, distinguished, don't you think it has gotten to a point of a state of emergency to be declared to stakeholders to explain what has been happening to this huge amount allocated?
Well, of course, it will be interesting to look at how these funds that were allocated in the current and also previous budgets will be reviewed, and also to see how the expenditures go. That fear was also expressed on the floor. So I'm sure when a committee is in place, it will be interesting to see what they come up with at the end of the day. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being consigned of life. It's well overdue. Research revealed that computer knowledge is being taught in most private primary and secondary schools, while it's reversed in government-owned schools. Distinguished, with the picture I have seen over years, most of our public school buildings, in fact, is in a storage state. And I think ICT facilities need a conducive environment. How then do we address this issue of lapidated public primary schools, building, and computer laboratories?
Thank you very much. I am Senator Akone Yarenyi, representing Akwa Ibom South Senatorial District. Today I moved a motion for urgent need for government to look into the sorry situation of computer education in our public schools, starting from the basics as the primary school. As we all witnessed, it was a very interesting topic that most of the senators contributed to. Yes, with the question you have raised about the facilities in our public schools, I highlighted that there are prevailing issues, problems hindering the computer training in our schools. The most important has to do with the classrooms blocks that we have in our public schools. Yes, it's a fact that most schools, children sit under the trees to take training, teaching from the teachers. Some that even have 4 walls, the roofs are leaking, some sit on the floor, no tables, and so on. The most important thing to do to ensure that this teething problem is taken care of is for government to ensure that adequate funding is given to education, and that when the said money is released, it should be utilized for the purpose for which it is meant. The classroom blocks should be renovated. Where they don't have, it should be built, and seats provided for the children. When you have such environment, then the lab, the computer lab that I have proposed can now be fixed. So The most important thing is funding. Without funding, what we've said cannot be implemented. Other than that, we are also identified lack of training. You can have the facilities, have the classroom, have the lab, but where you don't have proper trained teachers to handle, it's a major issue. You cannot keep a computer or a laptop or iPad, ask a child to come with iPad to the school without having somebody to show him or her what to do. Again, another major problem that we identified has to do with power. Use of a computer in schools will require power. So the epileptic power that we're experiencing in Nigeria must, as a matter of urgency, be looked into. By the time we do this, I think the training that we desire will come for us to lay the proper foundation for our children.
Computer is not cheap. Would advocate that Nigeria start producing and sell at a very cheap rate to enable every household have at least one?
Yes, 100% yes. If in everything that we do, that we make use of in the nation, we have a factory. One is not just bringing down the cost to enable people or the students have it, but it will provide employment opportunity for our children. So I will strongly advocate the establishment of a factory to produce computers.
Thank you very much. Well, do keep a date with us tomorrow. Until then, remain doing good as the best.